So thank you all for joining us this afternoon. This is our latest update in our series of new webinars designed to showcase all that is new and innovative within the Selectec portfolio. Our previous session highlighted the PaperCut Hive manufacturer driver and port 9100. And on Monday, we're hosting a session on the mobile apps available for Folder. So if you haven't already, then please register for that and join us Monday morning at 10:15. However, today myself and Max, and there are a couple of other Selectecers on the call, we've got Nick Keane as well, if there's any technical questions. We're going to be focusing on the latest release of PaperCut MF version 23. If you have any questions, we'll host a Q&A at the end, and please feel free to use the chat function, and I think the Q&A section is also working, so we'll make sure we're monitoring that throughout the webinar. So please, get interactive and ask questions as and when. So PaperCut MF version 23 is ready for business at any scale. So the world of work has never been more complex, more varied, and more under threat. Remote and hybrid work, information and systems security threats, and increasingly savvy end users means delivering secure, reliable, simple print experiences is more challenging than ever. PaperCut MF version 23 is PaperCut's most capable release yet, making sure customers and partners are ready to do business at any scale, anywhere, spread across the ever-growing array of platforms enabling modern business. PaperCut's goal for this release was originally made up of 5 themes, but they've tightened scope to 3 main themes: security, modern authentication, and Citrix. For security, they have a continued focus on uplifting the overall security of the product and default configuration. And PaperCut are starting to plug the gaps in relation to modern authentication with features like Azure MFA and modern protocols. And there is support for Citrix environments in print deploy, which we will talk about in a later section. A few milestones and changes just to make you aware of. So first of all, the version 20 end of life announcement was made. And since then, PaperCut have renamed 2 of the release milestones to match the names of monthly release milestones. So you'll notice that early awareness now becomes authorized partner awareness, and channel awareness now becomes reseller awareness. So keep your eye out for those. And general access release of this version 23.0.1 is now live as of the 31st of October this year. So hopefully you're all aware of it. I'm going to hand over now to Max, who's going to run through the new secure by default features in MF version 23.
Thank you, Di. So as Di mentioned earlier, the 3 main points is, the first one is security. PaperCut have been working tirelessly to upgrade and update their security. This is done with lots of points, but these are 5 of the top ones at the moment. There is a new urgent message banner inside MF version 23 and onwards. So if there are any threats or upgrades that need to happen, there is now a notification within the MF admin console. Number 2, admins will have to re-authenticate when making large changes, adding new admin accounts, resetting the admin password to fall in line with security practices. The passwords saved to server.properties are now all hashed, so those aren't viewable anymore. Communications between the print provider and the PaperCut application server can now be encrypted, and third-party dependency upgrades related to security or supportability. So why your customers care? Cybersecurity is paramount in today's landscape. PaperCut are committed to an ongoing security uplift program. After unpatched customer servers were exploited via vulnerabilities that had been patched in previous maintenance releases. Please ensure your customers are running the latest versions of PaperCut. You know, printing and scanning is critical to most businesses. So why would they not treat it as such and get the latest version and all the nice security patches? You know, Windows has your updates, antivirus, PaperCut's no difference. To get the best out of it, it needs to be on the latest version. Why have they done this as well? Due to the nature of the PaperCut ecosystem, reaching customers can be extremely difficult. Also taking into account PaperCut, once it's installed, it just keeps working, admins or users aren't always logging in on a daily or even weekly basis, unless they're adding a new feature or making a change, running a report. The banner will add another method of notifying those users of any urgent messages. Re-authentication is standard practice. Now admins are used to it and expect it. Softwares that don't meet those needs could be prioritized for removal, which is not what we want. Why you guys care? This is why we're so on top of our M&S renewals. Customers need and want to ensure their systems are up to date and secure. PaperCut are always working on improvements and fixes to keep those customers protected. So, as I said earlier, please make sure your customers are running the latest versions of PaperCut. That's what the banner looks like. Big red sign across the top that says this is a critical update message. Click here to know more. So then the customers, your end users, will be prompted to upgrade to the latest version. MFA, a bit of a hot topic at the moment. Everyone seems to be using it. I, for one, use it on pretty much everything I've got. It has become sort of best practice to provide additional protection from cyber attacks, and it's quite a straightforward, easy thing to enable and have add that extra layer of security. MFA can now be enabled for all web-based interfaces for admin and users. Yeah, as I said earlier, customers expect to be able to utilize best practices like MFA, and now that is possible within PaperCut. If you don't know what MFA is, it's that annoying text message you get that says, please enter this 6-digit code into your login and it will authenticate you. Again, it is a necessary evil because it does add that layer of security. I use it personally on my work, even my Facebook, and it can be a pain, but it's better than being hacked. So yeah, PaperCut MF now supports MFA flows for all admin users, all admin interfaces and user web interfaces. But they do have to be using Azure AD as the identity provider. So if they're using local AD, it won't work. You have to be using Azure AD. Why your customers care? Customers are used to this now. So why should PaperCut be excluded from that? In short, it shouldn't. If they didn't have it, customers may look at other solutions that do support it. And your customers will now have that choice to enable MFA. And for our partners, it defends against the need to shift to a competitor that does support MFA. It will elevate the security by default, and it will address mandates such as the recent one for government orgs to have MFA enabled. Customers will need to be using Azure AD Sync to enable MFA, and then you enable the sign in with Microsoft in the options, and you get that nice sign in with Microsoft button. And again, as I mentioned before, MFA flows work with all admin and user web interfaces. Card self-association can't be used with MFA, so they will have to do that in a different way, either by importing it or having an administrator with a card reader that they can scan and fill in that box. Back over to you, Di.
Lovely, thank you, Max. So yeah, for information payment gateways, for transacting alongside a payment gateway. So GDPR has global implications for any business or organization which has reasons to store data about anyone who is a citizen of a European Union country. So personal information which can be tied to an individual is protected under these regulations. And due to recent changes to 3D Secure 2 requirements, personally identifiable data, also known as PID, such as names and credit card details, are collected when transacting with payment gateways. PaperCut have changed their login detail to ensure PID will not be captured in any log files, regardless of the log level being used. And why do customers care? Well, due to our global economy, customer organisations all around the world are affected by the EU's General Data Protection Regulation, and as we know it, GDPR. And if there's any reasons, they might need to retain personal personally identifiable data about any EU country citizen. And customers, your customers, will expect their suppliers and vendors to update their software packages as necessary as and when regulations do change. And for yourselves, why should you, the partners, care? Well, partners and resellers must be able to confidently assure their customers and prospects that PaperCut updates their software as necessary to comply with evolving regulations, in this case, merchant services requirements, which have GDPR implications. And how does it work? Merchant services transactions collect various PID, which must subsequently be protected due to data privacy laws, including GDPR. PaperCut login levels are often elevated during initial configuration or testing, including the configuration of payment gateways to confirm whether services have been configured correctly. PID collected during merchant services transactions should not be retained in log files at all, and therefore PaperCut MF version 23 will not store PID in log files relating to merchant services transactions. Now I'm going to go back to Max, my double act partner, who's going to run through the print deploy for VDI.
Thank you, Di. So yeah, this is quite an exciting thing that's been released. We have been waiting for it for a little while, and it's now finally here. The problem we've had is VDI, well, the problem customers have is VDI users or virtual desktop infrastructures or environments, as it was also known, have to search through every printer that's installed on their server. So if you've got a customer with 1,000 print queues and they're trying to find their one, it can be quite a lengthy process for your larger organizations. So how we've solved it, or how PaperCut solved it, is the print deploy client is now location aware. So users can be served the relevant printers they need. And how that helps, it's easier for users to find their printers. Instead of 1,000, they will have 3 or 1 even, which is much easier for the IT department and for the end user, giving them time back to do what's more important. It supports all 4 of the major platforms: Citrix Virtual Desktop, VMware Horizon, Microsoft Azure Virtual Desktop, formerly known as Windows Virtual Desktop, and Microsoft Remote Desktop Services. So all the main ones are supported. How do you get it? It does require version 23 or above when they come out. It's not available for older versions or for PaperCut NG. And there have been 4 new SKUs added to the portal. The main ones that have been added are a 10. Actually, I've got this in another slide. I'm gonna come back to that in a moment, but you'll see why. So why do your customers care? Again, as I mentioned earlier, it reduces the IT support load for VDI users, getting them the right printers without all the rest of them. It's for enterprise at any scale. A lot of enterprise users, and especially healthcare, do use VDI. And why your partners care, why you guys care? It should open you up to new market opportunities. So maybe you weren't able to get into that vertical before, or that enterprise level. This should enable you to do that. It does defend against competitors that do have VDI support, and it's easy to show the value once they've started using it. To give you an idea, it was under we were understanding that Citrix was sort of a global virtual desktop was going downhill, but apparently it's done a bit of a U-turn and is projected to double in size in the next 9 years. And again, as mentioned before, VDI, especially Citrix, is big in healthcare. So how does it work? If you've used print deploy before, you should know how straightforward it is. You don't have to retrain. It uses the same methods as before. Everything happens in the background, so your users won't see anything unless they are prompted to. The print deploy client is installed on the virtual host server, as well as into the golden image used to spin up client sessions. The full details on how it works are available on the PaperCut portal in the technical awareness resource, if you want to know more. What's in it for you? If you're a customer, again, like I mentioned earlier, it saves a lot of time, and deploying printed can be messy and complicated. This makes it a lot easier for them. For the end user, it's much better, faster, and gives them time back, which is, again, probably the most important thing. And as a partner, as a reseller, you'll have increased customer satisfaction, hopefully less support calls, and confidence to use print deploy in those larger opportunities. If you do have any questions, we've got a few FAQs and things like that, but we've also got one of our techie bods, Mr. Keane, on the call as well if you've got any questions. I'm just going to also go through the new pricing model for print deploy. So the problem before was print deploy was considered uncompetitive for small customers and leaving money on the table for big, larger customers. So there's now a new tiered pricing. The old SKUs are available for a limited time, but it will help you by addressing those the market for larger opportunities. These are the new SKUs. So you have so it's not super straightforward, but if you do have any questions, you can come to us and say, do I need this? Do I need that? But the print deploy 10 zones does not come with VDI support. The 100 zones does, as does the unlimited zones. If you were to purchase 10 zones and you needed VDI support, you would have to get those two SKUs together. Or if you have the advanced print enablement pack and you want VDI support, you will need to purchase the print deploy VDI line item. You can stack those as well. If you've got a customer with 110 zones, you purchase the 10 and the 100 pack, and it works out more cost effective than the unlimited. Okay, there's a nice little cheat sheet here as well. So some examples of customers, if they only need 20 zones, but they also need VDI support, you can buy 2 lots of the 10 pack and the VDI pack. If you've already got the advanced print enablement pack and now you need VDI support, you already have that and you add that. So nice and straightforward. But again, please do get in touch with us if you need any help with it. We're more than happy to answer your questions. Okay, as I mentioned, you will be able to purchase M&S for the advanced print enablement pack indefinitely. January 29th, there it is. So if you did want to get the advanced print enablement pack, you have until January 29th to order it. Okay. If you have any feedback, if there's something you want to see in the next release or you think is really good and you want to give some feedback to PaperCut, then this email address is available to you, mf23@papercut.com.